Hello and welcome to This Is Austin. Have you ever hated the fact that you have to have a big, bulky PC and just want a game on the go, but laptops are still too big and bulky, so instead you have to come up with an alternative, but the Switch can't play.
PS Vita?
Vita's been dead for years.
Smartphone?
Who has smartphones these days?
Tablet?
Tablet? Never heard of it. Instead, we have the GPD Win 3.
We've done many videos on these GPD products in the past. And to be fair, they've always been very kind to us. So this is a pre-production unit. They have sent us many pre-production units in the past. Take a look at it before it comes out, right? So all of our videos on the GPD devices have to be given with a grain of salt that this is not final hardware, not final software, developing, etc., right? So some of the bugginess has to be accepted. This, though, in my limited time with it, has been more than a little buggy, and I have some real concerns about it. So the idea, as Matt so eloquently put, is that this is a full gaming PC and something that's the size of a Switch Lite. Mind you, it is much thicker and heavier than a Switch Lite.
It is heavy AF.
Yep.
Which at first I kind of liked.
No, it's way
And then
too heavy.
after about 5 minutes of holding it, I'm like, oh god, no.
So the main claim to fame here is that this is a full Windows PC and it has a sliding mechanism. So you have not only a keyboard, which to be fair is a touch keyboard, it is not a physical clicking keyboard, which is unfortunate in my opinion.
Let's talk about the keyboards for a second, because with GPD, I don't think we've ever seen the same keyboard twice.
Because they all suck. Every one of these keyboards
Yeah.
sucks. So this is a pure touch display, right?
Yes.
So it is lit, but it is not good, right? I mean, it works, but it is not something that I would want to regularly use, even though this is a PC. And to be fair, the controls that they have included are actually pretty nice. You have the R2, the L2, you have the actual clicking sticks, D-pad is nice, like X, Y, A, B, like all of the buttons for gaming feel good. But the thing is, this is a PC, and when you have to use the actual keyboard, I find it to be very annoying. I usually use the on-screen keyboard, which is not what I should say about something like this.
Yeah.
There's no feedback, especially when it comes to like pressing the shift button and seeing if you can actually type. It's very strange.
I don't have particularly big hands, but like I can't comfortably even, like I have, like, if you look here, if I'm holding the thing like I should be.
How did you not stop? I almost just died.
Like I have,
how you are. You have to say that you're fine.
if you look
You're
here,
not really fine.
T went down the wrong hole.
so like when you're trying to type with caps, all right, shift on one side, but like if I have to do like a capital A,
Yeah.
like my last name, shift, and then I actually like,
It's bad.
It's not a good layout.
I'll give them a little bit of credit because obviously this keyboard is a fraction of the size of a real laptop.
Yes.
For a minute, there are certainly some issues with this that we're going to talk about in a minute. But let's talk about some of the good stuff because there are some interesting things here.
Best thing about it, analog triggers.
Yes. So the triggers are actually fully analog, which is especially important if you're playing like a racing game or something. There's a lot of other things. So this is relatively powerful. So it is based on the 11th gen Core i5 and i7 processors, more than powerful enough for gaming. In fact, actually, I would say this is almost slightly overpowered for the 720p 60 display, right? This is I would say slightly below average panel, and 720p is a very low resolution. But you've got plenty of gaming power, and importantly, it also has a Thunderbolt 4 port, which means that you can plug it in to an external GPU.
But does it?
Yeah, of course it does, Matt.
So-
How would you not
All right.
know that?
So in doing some testing with this,
Yeah.
I tested out the Thunderbolt port and plugging it into just a regular Thunderbolt dock. So this was not a GPU. This was just, monitor, mouse, keyboard, whatever. It worked fine. Great. Good.
Okay.
So we tried to install drivers for NVIDIA, and we got that it just straight up wouldn't work. So first things first, it would say these drivers are not compatible with this version of Windows, which was unfortunate. But then just trying to do even the GeForce experience, it actually hard disabled the touch screen. And we had
Pre-production. Yeah.
It's
Okay.
all right, because going along the other lines of ports, so it's got the Thunderbolt 4 port and one USB-A port.
Which is very nice to have.
Again, we were plugging the capture card to get some game footage of this. Plugging in the capture card freaked out the keyboard, and so it was just auto typing a bunch of numbers. As long as anything was plugged into that USB-A port.
I hear you there. There's certainly things that hopefully will be ironed out by the time this actually ships and when it goes on sale and whatnot. But there are still good things here, right? So it's got a pretty chunky battery.
So they say it's about on gaming 2 to 3 hours of gaming.
Oh, it's only 2 to 3 hours, really?
Yeah. So
Ooh, that's actually not great. Now, I know you can turn the TDP down to the chip. Okay, look, here's the deal, right? This is a good idea. This is probably one of the better GPD Win devices we've tried. It still feels like it misses in a few ways.
Yes.
This is not super comfortable, right? So while yes, it fits decently in my hand, the weight is extreme. So for reference, this is what an Xbox Series X controller weighs, 287 grams. This is what the GPD weighs. 559 grams. It is well over double the weight of a controller, which I think is pretty comfortable to use
Yes.
for a daily sort of basis. There are laptops that weigh almost as much as this, right? And this is tiny. Like, it is so dense. I don't like the way that the grips are either. It feels like it's not quite like my hands have to wrap a little bit.
It's not fully ergonomic. I love that GPD keeps trying and refining. I love everything that GPD is doing, but I'm hoping that they take the feedback that we give of saying this is too heavy, these ergonomics, and they continue because I have the 2.
Yeah.
The 2, this is miles better than the 2.
The good thing is this is probably their better design, right? The sliding mechanism feels good.
But it looks very similar
right.
to one of our favorite devices of all time.
The Vio. This is from what, 2004, I believe? It's almost the same thing. Windows XP will give you a good sense for how old this thing is.
These side by side.
Very similar. Very, very similar.
I mean, just look at that.
I think the concept for the GPD is that this is one device that you can use while you're out and about, you're playing your games, you're doing your thing. You come home, you drop it on your dock, you plug it into your monitor, your mouse, your keyboard, whatever the case is, and boom, you've got yourself a gaming PC. Keep in mind that this is a really quite powerful device, right?
Yes,
Out of all the issues we have with it, power is not one. This is, again,
more powerful than a lot of your PCs.
One issue, though, that I will say with all this power. Can you hear this?
That's the quietest I've ever heard it.
It is literally just about to load the game. It's loud and hot.
Yes. So I played a little bit of Minecraft Dungeons on this, not a super demanding game, and after about 10 minutes it was uncomfortable to hold with how hot it was.
Yeah. Here's the thing, right? We're gonna continue playing with this. We're gonna, we'll get updates and the final hardware will be better, et cetera, et cetera. Like, if you put a lot of that stuff away, who is this for, right? Because it is a decent portable gaming PC, but decent, I think it still has some pretty major compromises.
Yeah, and so I was playing through Overwatch, which it played okay at low settings. That's a pretty low bar, and then on top of that, you hear the fan ramping up. It still gets warm. It's only 2-3 hours of battery life on it. There's my overall thought of this is it's a really cool device.
Yeah.
And you know what? I would probably use this like crazy to play emulated Game Boy games or something like that.
You can do that on your phone.
I could do that on my phone.
Yeah.
But I like the physical buttons.
Yeah, it's just
is it better to get a Razer is it Kishi?
Yeah.
On your phone? I don't know. Again, I love that GPD is doing these things, but right now with what we have here, this is the best version of something like this that we've ever seen, but I just don't think.
Actually disagree. We've seen better versions of this. In fact, we saw at last year's CES, Dell brought out a thing, or it was an Alienware concept, that was similar to this, except it was thinner and it had detachable Switch-like controllers. The problem is that's a concept, right? Other companies have dabbled with this because the idea of the Core i5s and the Ryzens of the world, you can get them in low enough wattages that they will fit in a form factor like this. They're always going to be warm, right? But if you maybe put a little bit more R&D behind it, you might be able to get something which is a little bit thinner, a little bit more kind of custom tailored. And with that, you can actually do real gaming. You have Thunderbolt, you have a lot of these expansion options, but you gotta
Lenovo has one that they just not released, but they showed off for CES. Same thing though, it's a concept, and obviously Dell and Lenovo are much, much, much bigger companies than GPD. So this, I truly think that this is the best that they can do with a company of their size.
Yeah.
And I think they've done an amazing job getting to this point. It's more a matter of, is the technology ready to be in this form factor?
Great question. The thing is, it's too heavy, too loud, too hot, and honestly not incredibly comfortable to play as a portable console, right? Which is really the only advantage, the only thing, like, real claim to fame here. Now, if it were one or two of those things, I would be fine, right?
Yeah.
If it's really loud, I'll put headphones on. And
Yeah.
to be fair, you can turn the TDP down if you don't mind sacrificing some performance, which
But
on the display is
if
fine.
you're at 720 low, how much lower can you actually get?
It's just it's a product that, like, has a clear market. There's a lot of people who would like something like this. You look at this, you look at the photos, you look at the articles, you look at the specs. It seems great, but the thing is, you put all of it together in a real package, and pre-production or not, I think there are major limitations, and I don't want to come off as too harsh. But when a product is so single-minded in its purpose, and it does not deliver well on that purpose, it is a very hard recommendation.
And yeah, and so again, I don't think GPD did anything wrong here. I think that
Well, it's too thick and too loud and too heavy. So there's
The
a single
vent-
fan in the back. My fingers literally cover the actual vent.
so like
Yeah.
that's just the problem. There is just physical space. So when
But
you have
I know-
something that powerful, you know, like obviously even the Switch gets hot.
True.
But like, and then the Switch is how many factors less powerful than this?
Significantly, yeah,
Like-
of course. I'm just realizing something. What settings is this running at? 720p medium. You know what? For as hot and as loud as this thing is, the performance actually isn't what I had expected. Like, I don't know if you can see on the actual feed. Look how blurry the wheel is. Look how blurry your gauges are.
It's
all
not-
being
it's not
reconstructed.
great. And that's why, like, it was fine with Overwatch, which already has like kind of cartoony.
Look at the car. Look, the car literally looks like
blurry.
it's
Yeah.
It's like
It's
240p.
like it's like Vaseline on the.
You
on
can
the
see
lens.
like the stippling. Look, it's not there. It's not there. This ain't it, Chief. This ain't it, Chief.
Again, I like, and it's funny because Linus loved it.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether he just loves the idea of it,
Yeah.
but it's. I mean, having played with it for a little while, I just. Like, I love the idea. I want more of these. I want GPD to keep doing what they're doing, but it's hard. I mean, again, we can't really say go buy this for 9 out of 10 people. I would say even 99 out of 100 people we can't say this for.
It's just tough to recommend. But I'm very curious, what do you think about the GPD Win 3? And what do you think about these very portable gaming PCs that try to do everything? Let us know in the comments below. As always, make sure to subscribe and ring-a-ding the ling-a-ling bell. The ring-a-ding the ling, the ring-ding the ring the bell, whatever. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. And until the next time we slander a brand new product for minutes at a time, thank you very much for watching.